4 knights game, Scotch variation accepted, 5.Nxd4 Bb4 6.Nxc6 bxc6 7.bd3 d5 8.Nxd5 cxd5 9.0000. Intense. That was a serious game. White really outplayed black in that one. Both players had an amazing opening. Both players navigated the middle game well. White exploited black's mistakes in the endgame. Opening with the king's pawn controls the center and opens up the light-squared bishop and queen, often leading to sharp games. e5 is a common response that establishes a presence in the center, controls d4, and opens up the queen and dark-squared bishop. Nf3 develops the knight toward the center, attacks the e5 pawn, and prepares to castle. Nc6 develops the knight toward the center, protects the pawn on e5, and eyes the d4 square. In the Scotch game, d4 gains space in the center and attacks the e5 square twice. Nxd4 opens up the center, and is somewhat forced given that white was attacking the pawn twice, and protecting with d6 doesn't work out. Nxd4 recaptures the pawn and centralizes the knight. Nf6 develops the knight and attacks the undefended e4 pawn. Nc3 develops the knight toward the center, supports the e4 pawn and controls the d5 square. Bb4 develops the bishop and pins the knight on c3 to the king. Nxc6 captures a knight and forces black to double their c-pawns. Bxc6 captures the knight, controls the d5 square and opens up the b-file. Bd3 develops the bishop toward the center, defends the e4 pawn and prepares castling. Castling gets the king to a safer square, out of the center of the board, while also developing a rook. Castling kingside tends to be safer because the king is further from the center. Castling gets the king to a safer square, out of the center of the board, while also developing a rook. Castling to the same side of the board as the opponent avoids some of the attacking associated with opposite side castling. This threatens to kick a knight. This threatens to win a pawn. This stops the opponent from being able to kick a knight. This is an equal trade. Recaptures. This activates a queen by developing it off of its starting square. The rook is now on an open file, which helps control squares across the board. It is the last book move. This misses an opportunity to connect rooks. It is a mistake. There was only one good move in that position. It is a miss. This pins a knight, which restricts its mobility. It is good. The opposing bishop is kicked by a pawn, and must now move or be captured. It is excellent. This maintains the balance in material with a good trade. It is best. After all captures, this is an equal trade. It is best. This forces doubled pawns in front of the opponent's king, decreasing its safety and harming the pawn structure. It is best. Takes back. It is best. This activates a rook by developing it off of its starting square. It is excellent. This ignores an opportunity to threaten winning a pawn. It is an inaccuracy. This is not the best. It is an inaccuracy. This develops a rook off its starting square, getting it into the action. It is best. This move puts the pawn on a safer square. It is best. This moves the bishop to a better location, allowing it to control more squares. It is excellent. This evades the check from the bishop. It is best. This is a fair move. It is good. That's not a mistake, but it's not the best move either. It is good. That's fine. It is good. This threatens to fork pieces. It is best. This defends a pawn that was under attack and had no defenders. This is the only good move. This prevents the opponent from being able to fork pieces. It is a great move. This is a fair move. It is good. This is not the right idea. It is an inaccuracy. Recaptures. It is excellent. There were worse moves, but also something much better. It is an inaccuracy. That's not a mistake, but it's not the best move either. It is good. This moves the bishop to a more active square, making it gain scope. It is good. This is the only move that works. It is a great move. This is not the best. It is an inaccuracy. This immobilizes the opponent's bishop by pinning it to the king. It is excellent. This takes an open file, a common method for activating a rook. It is good. This threatens to add pressure on a pinned bishop. It is good. This attacks a rook, winning a tempo when it moves away. It is best. This moves the rook to safety. This threatens to add pressure on a pinned bishop. It is best. This stops the opponent from being able to add pressure on a pinned bishop. It is best. That pawn was free for the taking. It is best. This moves the rook to safety. It is good. This is not the right idea. It is an inaccuracy. This move puts the bishop on a safer square. It is best. That's fine. It is good. This kicks an opposing knight. It is excellent. This moves the knight to safety. This threatens to fork pieces. It is best. This defends a pawn that was under attack and had no defenders. This stops the opponent from being able to fork pieces. It is best. This is the only good move. It is a great move. Very precise. It is best. This threatens to take an outpost with a bishop. It is best. This is an equal trade. It is good. Takes back. It is best. That's a sensible reply. It is excellent. Right on target. It is best. This pins a knight to the king. It is best. This is the only move that works. This threatens to win a bishop. It is a great move. This leads to losing a bishop. It is a blunder. This misses a great but hard to find move. Only one move worked there, and this wasn't it? This misses an opportunity to win a bishop. It is a miss. Recaptures. It is best. That's what I would have recommended. It is best. This wins time by threatening a rook and forcing it to move away. This is the only move that works. It is a great move. This move puts the rook on a safer square. It is best. There was only one good move there. It is a mistake. This offers an equal trade of pieces. This was a game-changing move, giving white a winning position. This is the start of the endgame and white is winning. It is a great move. This loses a bishop. This permits the opponent to attack a trapped bishop. It is a mistake. This attacks a bishop that cannot escape. It is a great move. A very strong play. It is excellent. Takes back. It is best. This defends the attacked pawn. It is excellent. This captures a vulnerable bishop. It is best. Recaptures. It is best. One of the best moves. It is excellent. The passed pawn moves towards its goal. It is excellent. This is the strongest option. It is best. This steps away from the checking rook. It is best. The pawn is now passed because it can no longer be challenged by opposing pawns as it tries to promote. It is excellent. Intense. That was a serious game. White really outplayed black in that one. Both players had an amazing opening. Both players navigated the middle game well. White exploited black's mistakes in the endgame.